Hey everyone, welcome to another FAQ. Today we're going to be going over United Airlines question that was sent by one of the community members and one of the viewers of my channel. Now this is specifically for United Airlines, okay? The question was very simple. What should I expect during the pre-recorded interview? So let's look at the United Airlines hiring process, okay? So this is a visual. Okay, so first comes the application. Okay, so this is going to be the process for everybody. So when you start applying for United Airlines, you go to the application, then comes the talent assessment, and then comes the flyer friendly Q&A. Now, from my understanding, that is an optional Q&A. After that, right here, you're going to notice that you have a pre-recorded interview before the live virtual interview. Now, the live interview process is when you're actually speaking with somebody, where you're on a virtual screen, but on the other end is an interviewer, a hiring manager from United Airlines. But before that, as I mentioned, you have the pre-recorded interview, and that is where you have various questions that they want you to record yourself and answer these questions, okay? So, quick overview. This stage is typically done through an online platform where you record your answers on video. There is no live recruiter watching you in real time. You'll see a question on the screen, get preparation time, then record your response. Based on multiple recent posts from candidates on Reddit forums, most applicants report a few basic screening questions first, 3 recorded video questions. You have 1 to 2 minutes before each question to prepare, and around 2 minutes to answer each question. Many people have stated that you have multiple attempts per question. So if you are not happy with the first recording, you can do it again. So you actually have the ability to submit the final answer. So if you're not happy with the first answer, you can go back and re-record the answer to the question and then submit, okay? Section number 1 continued. Here's an experience that I was able to gather from one of the communities, from someone who went through the process. Okay, when I got the email from United inviting me to the pre-recorded interview, I was honestly nervous. I had never done anything like it before. But once I logged in, it was actually super structured. The first part had few basic screening questions like passport validity and visible tattoos. And then I moved into the recorded section. They showed each question on the screen, gave me about 2 minutes to think, and then I had roughly 2 minutes to record my answer. That part was all behavioral / scenario-based stuff, like sharing a time you went above and beyond for a customer. I could even re-record an answer if I didn't like it. Overall, it was straightforward. Just talk clearly, be professional, and let your customer service mindset shine. Experience number 2. For anyone going into the pre-recorded interview, it's not as intimidating as you think. There were 3 recorded questions total, with each giving me 2 minutes to think before I hit record. Questions were things like how I handled the crazy schedule or how I'd prepare for a rigorous training, nothing technical, just everyday realistic scenarios. Some people online made it seem huge, but for me it felt like a calm conversation with myself. I smiled, repeated the question back to myself so I stayed on topic, and use customer service examples from my resume, all right? And how clearly you articulate your experience, okay? So what I'm gathering from these 2 experiences right here is that you have to make sure you let your customer service mindset shine. And the reason being is, remember, being a flight attendant for United Airlines is all about customer service, okay? Section number 2, what kind of questions do they ask? From what candidates are sharing recently, the questions are mostly behavioral and customer service based, nothing technical, nothing aviation specific. For example, here is some of the questions I was able to gather that they will ask during the pre-recorded United Airlines flight attendant interview. Tell me about yourself. Describe a time you went above and beyond for a customer. Tell me about a time you handled conflict. Why is safety important in any job? How do you handle unpredictable schedules? And how would you prepare for intensive training? Now, section number 2 continued. Experience number 1. Going into the pre-recorded interview, I expected trick questions or aviation knowledge, but it was nothing like that. All of my questions were behavioral. I was asked to describe a time I went above and beyond for a customer, how I handled conflict with a coworker, and why safety is important in any job. It wasn't technical at all. They They just wanted real examples from my experience. I realized they're looking for how you think, how you communicate, and whether you naturally prioritize safety and service. If you've worked in customer service before, you'll definitely have stories that fit. Just structure them clearly and stay positive. Before we continue, if you have a flight attendant interview coming up and want the exact interview questions asked by 15 of the major airlines like United, Delta, American, SkyWest, and more, check out my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. Inside, you'll find the exact interview questions, sample answers, what recruiters score you on, and what it takes to land a conditional job offer from these airlines. Click the link in the description below to preview the guide and grab your copy today. Section number 3, what recruiters are really evaluating. This is where most people mess up. Recruiters are not looking for dramatic or overcomplicated stories. They're looking for clear structure, ownership of your actions, a positive tone, a professional energy. Many applicants who shared their experiences online admitted they didn't move forward because their answers were too vague. Okay, so if you're going to gather anything from this, remember, they're looking for stories that show customer service. They're looking for a positive tone. They're really evaluating the way you look, the way you are, the positive tone you have, and your professional energy. Because I think what they're going to be evaluating during the next step, which is the live virtual interview with somebody face-to-face, is they'll be looking at technical stuff. But in terms of this, I think they're really just focusing on how you look on camera and the type of person and the energy you have, and to see if you'll be a great fit for United Airlines that way, okay? And remember, your answers shouldn't be vague at all. They should be structured. Again, I recommend clearly demonstrating a customer service mindset. Okay, so a lot of the people that didn't move forward, either they rambled, spoke in general terms, or didn't clearly explain what they specifically did in the situation. That's a big mistake. You should be using the STAR method. Clearly outline the situation, the task, the action you personally took, and the result from the action. All right, so STAR: situation, task, action, and result. Experience number 1. After doing the pre-recorded interview, I realized the questions themselves weren't the hard part. It was how you delivered your answer. I kept thinking I needed some huge, impressive story, but that's not what they're looking for. They want structure, clarity, and confidence. I made sure to clearly explain what I did in each situation instead of saying we the whole time. What this person means by we is that you want to explain what you did, what I did. Like, I did this, I did that, I was responsible for this, because they want to see what kind of asset you will be to the role. Not we as a team as of yet. I'm sure that'll come later. But they want to know what you did, okay? I also focused on keeping a positive tone, even when describing conflict. It felt like they were evaluating my communication style more than the actual story. If you sound calm, professional, and customer focused, that's what really matters. Experience number 2. From my experience, recruiters are absolutely watching your energy. It's not just about answering the question. It's about how you present yourself. I smiled, looked directly into the camera, and spoke clearly like I was already representing the airline. Always speak like you already work for United, representing the airline. I also made sure to take ownership of my actions in every example. Instead of saying my team handled it, I explained exactly what I contributed. This is going back to my previous point about what you did. I is the main thing to focus on. Okay? I've seen people say they didn't move forward because their answers were too vague. The structure and delivery seem to matter just as much as the content. Great. Section number 4, presentation and technical tips. Here's what candidates consistently recommended if you want to give yourself the best chance of moving forward. First, dress business professional, and I mean the full outfit, not just the top. Even though it's pre-recorded, wearing a complete outfit changes your posture and mindset. You naturally sit straighter, speak more confidently, and feel more prepared. It puts you in interview mode mentally. Second, lighting matters more than people realize. If possible, sit facing natural light from a window. You don't want harsh shadows or dim lighting. Recruiters need to clearly see your facial expressions because communication is part of what they're evaluating. A well-lit face automatically looks more professional and engaging on camera. Keep your background neutral and uncluttered. A blank wall, tidy room, or simple background is best. You don't want distractions pulling attention away from you. Remembering, you are the focus. That's actually a really good point, because if you have stuff in the background, the recruiter or hiring manager watching your video, you don't want them being distracted of what's behind you. You want them focused just on you and your answers, your posture, your facial expressions, and your answers. You don't want anything distracting them from you being an asset and the positivity that you're contributing to the answers. Section 4 continued. Recap again. 30% on the answers, 70% evaluating whether you already look and sound like someone who could represent the airline in front of passengers. Okay, remember that. The face-to-face is about your answers. This is about evaluating whether you look and sound like someone who can represent the airline. Experience number 1. I almost didn't think the setup mattered since it was pre-recorded, but I'm glad I took it seriously. I dressed in full business attire, not just a blazer on top, and it honestly changed my mindset. I felt more confident and professional. I also sat facing a window for natural light. And when I tested my camera beforehand, I realized my first setup looked too dark. Fixing that helped a lot. It felt less stressful because I knew everything was working. Treat it like a real interview. The way you present yourself absolutely counts. Experience number 2. I read advice saying to treat it like a live interview, and that stuck with me. I sat up straight, kept steady eye contact with the camera lens, and focused on speaking calmly. I had small sticky notes around my screen that said smile and star against star. Situation, task, action, and result. Use that actual strategy when answering questions. But I didn't read from anything. You can tell when someone's reading. I think recruiters are paying attention to your body language and energy just as much as your answers. It's still an interview, just without someone on the other side of the screen. Now note, I've added professional interview-ready outfit options in the description. Clean, polished looks that work perfectly for a pre-recorded interview. So if you're looking for something to wear, I've researched and added links below in the description. So take a look at the description below, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something that's very cost effective and cost efficient for yourself, okay? What happens after? Section number 5. After you submit your interview, timelines vary. Some candidates report hearing back in a few days. Others say it took 2 to 3 weeks. If you move forward, you'll typically receive an invitation for a live virtual interview or next stage assessment. If you don't hear back immediately, don't panic. Silence does not always mean rejection. Experience number 1. After I submitted my pre-recorded interview, the hardest part was honestly the waiting. I kept checking my email every day. I didn't hear anything for almost 2 weeks, and I started thinking I didn't make it. Then out of nowhere, I got the email inviting me to the next virtual interview. So don't panic if you don't hear back immediately. From what I've seen, timelines really vary. Silence doesn't automatically mean rejection. Experience number 2, I submitted my video interview on Thursday evening and got a response the following week. I was invited to move forward to the live virtual interview. It was a relief because I felt good about my answers but wasn't sure how I did. The email was pretty straightforward, just instructions for scheduling the next step. That's true. Keep an eye on your spam folder and junk mail, because sometimes the way your filters are designed on your inbox, some of the emails may be filtered over to the spam or junk mail. Right? And experience number 3. Not everyone moves forward, and that's something people don't always talk about. A friend of mine received a thank you for your interest email about a week after submitting. It was disappointing, but it helped them understand they needed stronger, more structured answers. From what I've read, if you don't pass this stage, you usually have to wait before reapplying. So preparation really matters at this step. Great, I hope that you did enjoy this quick video answering the question, what should I expect during the pre-recorded interview for United Airlines? If you have a question that you would like for me to answer, please leave it in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. You can find a link to that in the description below. At this time, I just want to wish you best of luck on your flight attendant journey. And remember to keep your head up, keep smiling, and good luck.